everybody, and welcome back to the Blue Snot channel. Today, I'm back with another match preview as I'm about to preview the upcoming Quakes match between FC Dallas versus San Jose Earthquakes, as the Quakes are back on the road. And this preview is going to be a very quick preview because we all know what's going to happen in this game. We are probably going to lose this one because we're playing against FC Dallas, who are top in the Western Conference. And that since this game is on the road, you will know that it is pretty much an automatic loss, or we might somehow, in some way, very luckily get a point because the Quakes will never ever win on the road with the way how they've been playing right now. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this preview. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash that subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time. Okay, to be fair, that was a little bit too quick in terms of the preview, and I hope you guys haven't pressed that exit button in the top right of your screen yet, because yes, there is more to this game other than the fact that it is going to be probably a loss for the Quakes. You know, there's certainly more to this one, and one of the things that is interesting about this game is that the last team we actually beat on the road was, guess who? FC Dallas. So maybe in some way that might be really one of the way that we can use as a way that maybe we can get something out of this. I mean, it's really hard to kind of look forward to this game considering the fact that they are just so good right now, and this is a team that's been just on fire lately. And you know, I really think that this could be a game where this is a game that maybe it will really kind of test how this defense and how this midfield is, because as much as in the last couple of games of how good our defense is, they've been playing against some relatively weak kind of team and teams that don't really have a lot of good attack. And I'm talking about the Sounders, who usually are never going to go on the attack very often on the road. And then you have also RSL, who pretty much do the same thing. They don't usually go on the attack very often, especially on the road. So this is really probably one of the first tests for the Quakes in terms of how they will do against actual good opponent, and it's gonna be very interesting to see how that will go. If it goes very badly, then we will know that the good defensive kind of performance we had in the last two games was mainly because we were playing some very easy team, and that we still have some defensive problem. Although, to be fair, I shouldn't be really mentioning a lot about the defensive problem of this team, but the main problem with this team right now has to be scoring. And this team have now gone over 360 minutes without scoring a goal if you count that Manchester United game. And we also have gone over 270 minutes without scoring a goal in league play. The last goal we scored was all the way back in July 6 against the Portland Timbers, and that was just a consolation goal by Florian Jungwirth to make it 2-1 in that game. And you know, it's quite ridiculous the fact that we haven't scored over a month, but it's kind of what this season is about. It's been some really just crazy record, and I'm talking about very bad record, not those crazy kind of good record that we've been receiving, but we've been going through some crazy bad record, and we are just pretty much becoming one of the worst MLS team to ever play in a season. And right now, this goal scoring drought is just another chapter of our just laughing stock kind of book that we have been written so far throughout this campaign this season. So hopefully we can potentially fix that. Hopefully, I think if we just can't score one goal, because I think the problem with this team is that right now this team just have no confidence at all in terms of scoring goals. But I really think if this team can score one goal, then I'm assuming that they will get out of the chair. And I mean, you've seen in the past of how teams that have gone through this goal scoring drought and how it only takes one goal for them to finally start scoring goals again. And I just think that is the same thing with the Quakes, although it is going to be very unlikely to try to score a goal against this FC Dallas team, who also have a very stellar kind of defense. Now, talk about FC Dallas and talk about the player that we got to watch out for. Well, this is going to be very tricky to talk about because, to be honest, every player on this team you should be watch out for, because if you guys have seen my previews and reviews that I talk about FC Dallas, this is a team that is very unique in a way that everybody on this team can be a threat of scoring goals. This team doesn't really have a guy that you kind of rely on to score all your goals. Everybody on this team always tends to find a way to score goals, and I just think with that being said, it is really hard to find out who to really kind of close down. And I think that is one of the main reasons why Dallas has been so good so far this season, because it's like, you know, you couldn't figure out who exactly is the guy that you have to cover the most, because if you cover this guy, if you just solely focus on this guy and trying to double team, another guy will be pretty much open in the box and able to put the ball into the back of the net if he finds some space to do that. So that is why this is just so tough to choose who exactly I think the Quakes should watch out for, because to be honest, we should watch out for every single player in this FC Dallas team. But just for the sake that I have to pick a player, I'm going to say Michael Barrios, because he did score a hat-trick in the last game. And yes, he only scored his first goal in the last game since October. When you start scoring goals, and especially how he got the hat-trick in the last game, that must be some really brewing kind of confidence for him, and that he definitely could be a guy that will really be a threat for us, and that he will definitely now be more confident going forward on goal than when he had that goal scoring drought before he scored that hat trick in the last game. So yeah, that's the guys that we got to watch out for. And in terms for the starting 11 for this game, well, I'm gonna go with a different formation this time. I usually always go with a 4-4-2, but I'm actually gonna change it a little bit, and I'm gonna go with the 4-2-3-1. And in goal, unfortunately, it is gonna be Tarbell that is in goal, unless JT Marcinkowski is going to be called up for this team and be our new goalkeeper. And if you watch the homegrown game, which unfortunately I did not watch the homegrown game, you would know that there is pretty much every evidence that I've been saying of why we need to put Marcinkowski in there over Tarbell, because he was by far one of the best player on that game and probably should have got the man of the match in that game. I think if he didn't concede a goal, he probably would have got the man of the match. But the way that he made some big save in that game, and just pretty much he's been doing it throughout this season with Reno, why in the world are we not giving this kid a chance? I mean, the season is already lost for us, so you might as well just try some new thing, just try to experiment and see if it will work. So I really think that it is really time that we need to bench Tarbell and put Marcinkowski in there. But knowing the fact that I haven't heard any news of Marcinkowski actually going to be calling up from the Reno team and play for the Quakes, unfortunately we're going to have to stuck with Tarbell for now. Which, to be fair, Tarbell, he did not have a good game, or actually he did had a good game. I'm so used to saying that he did not have a good game that it's just kind of come natural. But in the last game, he actually did had a decent game. But to be fair, we've seen this episode before this season. I mean, there's been, you know, a couple of games where Tarbell has looked very sharp, and then there's been a majority amount of games this season where he has looked absolutely awful. So I really don't think that game against RSL where Tarbell has a good game will just continue, because we've seen this before. And I'm hoping that, the only thing I'm hoping is that maybe that won't be the case. Maybe he'll be sharp again in this game against FC Dallas, and he definitely needs to be sharp in this game. Now, in terms of the back line, in the left back, I'm actually going to stick with Shea Salinas. And to be fair, Salinas actually have done very well recently in that left back row. You know, I always tends to criticize Salinas about how he is just not a left back, and that, you know, earlier in the season he was absolutely horrible, and he is one of the reasons why there are some games that we just could not able to get a win, and the goals that we conceded was also directly fault to Salinas. But in recent game, he's definitely looking much better, and you know, if you have a left back that definitely look much better, and whoever plays there that look much better in these last couple of games, then you might as well just put him there, because right now we just don't have anybody else that can play in that left back row. Now, in terms of the center back core, I'm going to say it's going to be Kashea again alongside with Cummins. Both of them so far have been forming a very good partnership, and I think this will be a center back partnership that we might be seeing in the future. Consider how solid it's been in these last couple of games. And of course, in the right back, it is going to be Nick Lima, and going forward, I'm going to say it is going to be Felipe and also Youngworth that is going to be back in that holding midfield row. Yes, I'm finally decided to put Felipe in there, and you know, I know a couple of games I said that I was very shocked that Felipe was going to be in the starting 11. Consider he hasn't really got play with our squad or haven't really featured in the past, but ever since he has featured for the squad and made his debut, he has looked absolutely exceptional. I mean, he has just been absolutely amazing in that midfield role, and we might have just got lucked out by finding a holding midfield in the future, and that he could definitely be the one that will probably maybe keep Godoy out of that holding midfield role and just keep him on the bench. So yeah, I'm going to say Felipe is going to be there alongside with Florian Youngworth, who is going to be coming back in the lineup after, I'm assuming, he got a rest from the RSL game, considering the fact that in that RSL game we were resting a lot of guys since we played the third game in 8 days. And then of course, going forward in the free central attacking mid, I'm going to say it's going to be Vako that's going to be in the middle. But I'm going to go with Tommy Thompson in the left, and I'm also going to go with Eriksson on the right, which means that it only lead one striker up front, and I am going to say it's going to be Danny Hoesen that is going to be back in that striker role. And Hoesen has really struggled in these last couple of games, and it just feels like the couple of games that he had where he was just scoring goals was basically he was in form, and that now that he is not really in form anymore and he's kind of like struggling to put the ball into the back of the net, I'm just hoping he can try to rediscover his form that he had a couple of months ago. Because as a striker and as a goal scorer, if you can score one goal, then you can definitely score 3 or 4 very easily, because goal scoring is the #1 thing that will always give the confidence level for a striker, and I think that's what Hoesen is missing right now, and hopefully maybe he can bag one in to get his confidence back in. But yeah, that of course is my starting 11 for this game, and in terms for the prediction of this game, like I said, I already said it, we're probably going to lose this one, but I'm just going to still give faith and say that maybe we can get something out of this game, and maybe really, I think the only thing I'm going to say about this game is that if we at least give some effort, even if we lose this game, you know, I really don't mind if we lose this game or not, because we know the season is done. You know, the result really doesn't matter either way until next season. So it is really all about us building in the future and try to figure out who exactly is going to be in the project next year to try to rebuild this team again, and who of course will we have to ship off and have to get rid of in the off season. So I am going to say that we're probably going to lose this one, but I'm going to say it's going to be a 2-1 loss for us in this game. I know I usually don't predict us losing games, but what did you expect when you have a team that is currently dead last in the league and you're playing the best team in the Western Conference, and that I need to at least try to be as realistic as possible. I can't just say that we can get a draw out of this, or just even the most diluted statement, get a win against FC Dallas on the road. So hopefully the boys will give a very kind of good spirit fight in this game and try to maybe grind out a draw miraculously, but most likely I think this is going to be a loss for us. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash that subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.